Ventilatory Threshold 2. What is it, what's it good for, and how do we find it? Today we're going to answer all that and more, and stick around through the entirety of the video so you can see how it can help you advance and break through some plateaus in your running training. What's up guys, my name is Taylor. I'm a certified personal trainer, nutrition coach, and CrossFit Level 2 coach, and today we're going to talk about an aspect of threshold training called Ventilatory Threshold 2 and how it can help you be a little more strategic in planning your runs throughout the week. Ventilatory Threshold 2, or VT2 for short, is a specific point during our training where our body is producing lactate at a rate faster than we can clear it. Now, the body can only go at this pace for a brief period of time before burnout happens. It is also at this specific threshold where the body is solely relying on carbohydrates as a primary fuel source. Now, this is an anaerobic process, meaning we're breaking down our glycogen stores in our body to provide us with that quick fuel source as energy as we need it. Now, you can tell when you're in VT2, and we'll tell you how to test it later, by very heavy breathing, and if someone asks you if you're able to talk, your answer is no. So why do we care about this? So the body can only maintain this energy intensity for a very brief period of time. Since we're using our stored glycogen as a quick energy source, once those stores run out, it's commonly referred to as hitting a wall, where we just simply can't go any further. And this leads us into our next point of what is it good for. So VT2 draws a line between what is a sustainable effort and what is not a sustainable effort. So at VT2, it's only an intensity that you're going to be able to hold for a very brief period of time. Right below VT2, and that specific heart rate, which we're going to tell you how to find later, is what you should be able to sustain for the entirety of your endurance event, whether that's running or anything else. And why that's important is it's going to allow you to get the best time and get the most out of yourself during that event. Now, it's also good for knowing what training zone you're in, whether it's zone 1, 2, 3, or 4. Since VT2 also defines the point from where your body switches to primarily carbs as a fuel source, it's also going to tell you a lot about what you need to do for nutrition. So if you're doing a very hard session that day and you're spending a lot of time at VT2 or above with short bursts, you're going to need to really replace your glycogen stores, especially for your next day of training. So the next day you don't come in feeling slow, weak, you just don't really have that intensity. You really need to replace your sugar and your glycogen stores. Now you might be asking yourself, is there a VT1 if there's a VT2? Yes. And we'll have another video coming out shortly about what that is and how to test it. And you can also use VT2 to see progress in your training. So let's say once you find out what your heart rate is at VT2, that same effort or intensity that you just measured on this day, 5, 6 months down the road, a year down the road, you might be able to do that same intensity but at a much lower heart rate. So you're going to be able to see some differences and advancements in your training that's going to help you with these heart rates. That's going to show you in your heart rate that you're making progress. All right, so how do we find it? There are ways you can test this in the lab. You can pay for some tests to get done, but there is a way you can do it on your own. And you can do that on a machine, whether that's skiing, rowing, a bike machine, or you can do it by running. I personally prefer to do it by running or on a rower. So I just did this the other day. It's a very hard test. You can do a modified version of it at home, which is what it's going to be beneficial for all of you out there. So it's just a 20-minute running test if you choose to do running. Otherwise, it'll be 20 minutes across everything. So it'll be 20-minute row, 20-minute ski, 20-minute bike. But for this one, the one I did, I'll show you some clips of, I did a 20-minute run. Now what you want to do during that run is you need to set a pace that you think you can sustain for the entirety of the 20 minutes. You don't want to be up and down on your paces. So if you start at a 7:30 mile pace at minute 1, you want to be able to sustain that for the entirety of the 20 minutes. Now, if you do start off a little too fast, you can adjust it. Say you start off 7-minute per mile pace, 5 minutes in, you think that's too fast, you can back that down to a 7:30 or an 8-minute pace. Now, what we really care about during this test is the final 5 minutes. And then at the end, we take the average of those heart rates and then we multiply it by 95%. And the 95% is just because most of these tests are usually 30 or 60 minutes long. So this is a shorter duration of a test, but we're just modifying it by that 95% just because it's usually slightly or higher intensity than what we would see in those longer tests. It will allow you to calculate your individual training zones for specific training sessions during the week, whether that's zone 2, which you commonly hear, or any other hard or easier training sessions. And once we find our VT1, which we'll do in another video, then you'll have VT1, VT2, all your training zones in between and beyond those parameters, and then you'll be able to plan out your training intensities throughout the week. All right, that was a crash course on VT2 testing. If you guys try this one at home, put your results down in the comments and let me know how it goes, and I'll see you in the next video where we talk about VT1 and how to test for that. See you next time. Thanks.